Hello, everyone. Welcome to the weekly meeting of the Franco Sweater Knitters. If you've ever thought about knitting a Franco sweater, or you are knitting one, or you have knitted one, you're welcome to join us in this meeting. It meets every week from at 2:30 to 3:30 Pacific time. The Franco sweaters are sweaters that are generated, the pattern is generated at franco.com, and make sure you get the spelling correct because it's a very strange spelling. Hello, Sumner.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, Mary.
Hello, Frank.
Hi, William. Hi, Will.
Oh, hi. Good to see you.
You too. Hi, Jenny.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, Serena.
Hello.
And hi, Karen.
Hi, Frank and everybody.
Welcome to you all. We'll probably be joined by a couple of more, I suppose. And so before I turned on the camera, somebody was talking about hot yoga.
Yeah, that was me. Ooh, yeah, it was hot. It was hotter than I thought. And I'm like, oh, hot yoga. I should have researched it a little bit. I'm thinking, yeah, 85, 90 degrees. That's hot, right?
Yeah.
105 degrees Fahrenheit. Woo.
Oh my gosh. And
Would
what
you
did
ever
you say it
hot.
was centigrade? Did you translate that to centigrade?
I did. What was it,
40
Jenny?
something.
46
something, wasn't
degrees?
it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
40. Yeah, ridiculous. 46 degrees or something like that. Yeah. And you're in there for 90 minutes.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Did anybody faint or?
Well, I was told that my only job for the whole class was to breathe because it takes a while to get used to it. I'm like, yeah, no kidding, huh? I really liked it because it was strength yoga. It was very hard. It was really tough yoga.
I assume you've
Yeah.
done yoga a lot before you
Yeah.
tried that.
Yeah, I've done yoga. But this was like strength training yoga. And it was 105 degrees.
Unbelievable.
Ooh, yeah.
I see Cindy has joined us, but she wrote into chat, I'm here, but I'm not quite yet. She's listening while I put the dinner in the oven soon.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
Oh, and Miss Jenny, I got my 000 DTNs, right?
Oh, what's that?
And I put a cuff on my sock
Oh,
because I had done these socks on just zeros and I really liked them. But I thought that the cuff on the sock needed to be a little bit
snugger.
yeah, a little more snug. So
Yeah.
I did that with 000s. Very nice.
Lovely. Lovely. Did you do the sewn
Beautiful
bind off at
stitches.
the end?
So I'm doing them cuff down. So
Oh, I see. Okay. Other
it'll
way
be just
around.
Kitchener, which is
Yeah.
fine,
Yeah.
How many stitches do you use for a sock if you're on size zeros, Sumner?
86 around.
Okay, that's not so bad.
They're not that bad, but it's
No.
a tight sock.
Yeah.
So I would use, and I have for, I've been knitting socks since the 90s. 2s and 3s, but I would be doing 70 stitches around.
Yeah.
So, like on my screen, the troublemakers in the lower left-hand corner.
What?
Jenny says, oh, well, you should try that on zeros because it's a nice tight fitting sock. And she's right. And yeah, I really, so I tease her because now my socks take a little bit longer, not too much.
But they'll probably last forever if the fabric is that dense.
I'm thinking, well, and
Yeah.
they're comfortable and you can get in and out of shoes real easy without the sock going up the back of your heel.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it definitely is. I'm a convert.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yes, I've got pairs of socks that are 5 and 6 years old, and yeah, a little bit of felting on the heel and the ball of the foot, but fine. They go in and out of the wash, so yeah, absolutely fine.
And I could still make a pair of socks in a week. It's not like it takes too long to make a pair of socks. So really good. Even doing Norwegian knitting socks, so that's new for me too. I find it's easier on DPNs than on the 2 double circs, because I've always done the
Really?
Cat 40 double circ method,
Okay.
but doing the continental knitting, it's somehow, I don't know. I've been doing DPNs and I think my pearls come out better. I don't know why. I have no idea why.
I'm no good on DPNs. I keep pulling the wrong one out.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So what cast on did you use then for the top of the ribbing?
So there's this guy Norman that I started following. He's from Germany, and he casts on traditional longtail on 2 needles, and then he pulls one out.
Ah, I see. Okay. Yeah.
So I tried that, and it actually worked. I have done like a Norwegian twisted cast on, which is
Yeah.
a really stretchy cast. And I don't find a whole lot of difference between casting on traditional longtail on 2 needles and pulling one out, and
Yeah.
the stretchiness of the Norwegian twisted cast.
There's a reason for that.
Okay.
And Suzanne Bryan has done videos on this where she compares the two. And it turns out when you use 2 needles to cast on, longtail cast on, the thing that gets increased is not the distance between the stitches. It's the length of the first row of stitches that gets increased. So
Oh.
it doesn't actually increase the stretchiness or the looseness. It just gives you a bigger first row, and there's not a real reason to do that.
Hmm.
Oh, because I mean, I do find that the stretchiness of it is pretty good,
Yeah.
you know.
And did you do that with 2 needles? Is
2
that what you're
needles.
saying? Yeah.
Yeah,
It worked, huh?
2 needles.
Well, it gave you
It
what you wanted.
works.
I guess that's what counts.
Yeah.
But she does a very interesting experiment where she uses 2 different color threads, you know, and then compares it to where she uses a single needle versus a double needle. And the one that is using more is the one that is actually, you know, how when you cast on longtail cast on, there's actually, you're creating a row of stitches.
You're
And
doing your
you
first
also
row.
are the other one is just winding around the bottoms of them or something. And the one that gets lengthened is the one that's creating the first row of stitches,
Which is the twisted,
which is not the
All right.
twisted one.
not the
It's
twisted.
the actual first row of stitches. So that row is actually bigger. But maybe I don't know, maybe it adjusts over time. I don't know.
Oh, with the first row of stitches, yeah, maybe, I don't know. I haven't had the 2 side by side.
Uh-huh.
They seem similar enough, and I get them on my ankle just as well, right?
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah,
I have
I
a,
recommend looking up a video about that because it really
Yeah, I will.
illustrated it.
Yeah, I'm sure she's right. She's brilliant.
Yeah.
I have a stretchy bind off I can recommend. I mean, it's cast on, sorry. This
Uh-huh.
is called My Grandma's Cast On by Ann Hansen.
Never
And
heard of
it's-
that one.
It's let's see. Whoop, how do you do this? It's
Oh wow, yeah.
it's got it
That's
creates
springy.
these little pearl like, I don't, can you see that?
I'm trying to spotlight you.
Oh,
Hold it up a little higher.
Okay.
Oh,
I see it.
yeah.
and
Oh,
Almost looks like a cable cast.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Okay.
Now, how can we learn that cast on?
Yeah, how do you
she-
perform it?
She has a YouTube video on it. Just try Googling or try going My Grandma's Cast On by Ann Hansen. If it doesn't work that way, which sometimes it doesn't, go to her website. It's barenakedwolves.com. Wait. I'm not sure. I'll have to link it for you but I think that should work. My Grandma's Cast On.
So what type of cast is it?
Yes, here it
you-
is.
Yeah, it's like a thumb cast on, but you twist the yarn the opposite way, so it puts an extra loop in it,
Oh, okay.
and I love it. I use it for shawls and sleeves, and even bottom hem.
Yeah, I've
Unless
loved the
you-
twisted cast. It's been a very good one for me. I just thought I would try this using 2 needles, and it worked enough that I'm not unhappy with it.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Did you make your sweater, Karen?
I did. Woohoo!
It's gorgeous. Those cables are fantastic.
I love the cables. I'm looking for a new cable project. Yeah, it was fun.
That's cool. Was it top down?
This is a Kate Davies pattern.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Well, you got me on Spotlight. I
Uh-huh.
I started my first Franco sweater. This is the Happy Baby.
All right.
Awesome.
And I'm almost ready to split for the sleeves.
Oh, yeah,
This is just
that's
Oh,
the
wow.
shoulder.
Yes.
a cotton
Looking
yarn I
good.
got. Ooh,
Yeah, nice.
just a cotton yarn I got at a discount store. Lily's.
How's it going?
Lily's
Have you-
sugar-
Have you
Oh.
understood everything that was described?
I
Oh, good.
have, yeah. I started it with my friend who's also named Karen. She gave up because she didn't like having 6 ends to weave in.
Thanks.
So she said it was too fiddly. But
Oh.
and it is a little, I wouldn't say it's fiddly, I would say it's just a little what's the word? Not complicated. Just you had to pay attention at the beginning, yeah.
That's right. The complex part is at the beginning when you're doing the shoulders and starting the sleeve caps.
Yeah.
Then it gets simpler as you do the sleeve caps, and then it gets
Mhm.
really simple as you do the body and the sleeves.
Yeah.
So it starts with the
Yeah.
hardest part.
I like it. I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna make an adult sweater next.
Oh, good.
My
I
own
look forward to
design.
seeing it.
Thank you.
I put a link in the video in the chat to the video for my grandma's cast on, and Cindy has put a link in the chat to an alternative long tail cast on in pattern that has really good stretch and doesn't flare out. So I will try to remember to put those links in the description.
Frank, the link that I put in is another version of the one that Karen mentioned. It's not Suzanne's. I can look
Oh.
up Suzanne's if you want me
Oh, it's another
It was
version of
somebody
my
else.
grandma's.
to. It's another one of my grandma's. It's my
Oh, I
grandma's
see.
cast
Oh,
on by
cool.
Ann Hansen. is
Okay.
What it was. So it's the same. Yours
Oh.
looks like it actually is at Ann's website. Mine was not. It was just the first one that came up.
I see.
Gotcha. Thanks.
But I can look up
Oregon, and you're
Suzanne's.
still paying for electricity. You're missing out on free government
Sorry.
assistance to go solar. What
Wait.
I don't want to have to mute everybody.
Yeah, yeah. It's fun.
It's those stupid ads. Jeez. Guess I'll just copy and paste it. That's what I'll do.
Well, guess what? I finished my hoodie.
Yay.
The thing
It
that's
is
different about a verbal
I just
dictation.
need to block it and then send it off to be published in Cast On magazine.
Oh, cool.
And I asked a friend of mine if he would model it so I could take some pictures of it. and I can show you those.
Fine. So I am excited about it. What cast on is going to be in?
The next issue.
Okay, sweet.
So here's, you can see that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks great.
Nice.
So that's the cat.
Wow.
That's it. There's the kangaroo pockets,
Nice.
and they have a garter stitch edging, and the garter stitch edging is also up on the hood itself.
Yeah.
And as you see there, the hood overlaps when it attaches to the front of the chest. So
Beautiful.
And he
that's
gave it
that.
back?
Sorry.
He gave it back?
I didn't let him take it away. Now let's see, how do I go to the next
So
one?
that's fun.
Beautiful.
It fits him really well.
Yeah.
I'm afraid he thought so too. And here's what it looks like with the hood up. And here's
Nice.
the back of the hood. And as you see, it doesn't have a point.
Yeah.
And
The
here's
fit
what
on
it
that
looks
is
like
so
with the hood
nice.
down.
Oh,
And
that's
that's
lovely.
Aaron, right?
Yes, that's Aaron weight.
Okay, because you know I still have like 3 sweaters worth of that Andiamo light.
Ah, yes.
So I think I might have a gray one of these coming.
Is that boucle, Summer? I thought you were going to make it in boucle.
I know, but look at how nice it looks.
Yeah.
I could have 2,
Yes.
and I
Yes.
could have one that I can make in a month, you know?
No kidding. A month, whatever.
But I won't be making a boucle in a month.
So the pattern will be published, I think it's May 1st. Yes, May 1st.
Oh, that's great.
This will make a big hit, I think, Frank. It's lovely.
Oh, thank you. Its name is going to be Franco's Plain and Simple Hoodie.
Perfect. Because,
There's
you know,
nothing fancy about it, and it's also simple to do.
because there's just not good men's knits out there. There really isn't.
Yeah.
So we'll get it searched on Ravelry and all that too. So
Yeah.
Oh, I did want to show you about the pocket. Let me do that one more time. Okay. Now the pocket, as you see, the garter stitch diagonal is the opening to the pocket,
Yeah.
but the depth of the pocket goes down 3 more inches to the top of the ribbing. So there is depth to the pocket. It's not just a flap across the front.
so stuff won't fall out of it. That's great.
That's right. So I just
Neat.
point
Oh
out.
yeah. Oh, that's great.
And where it hits on his body too, it looks like it'd be just perfect for putting his hands in and,
Yes.
you know, having your hands in that thing.
Yeah,
Sometimes you have them, they're too high or too low, but that one looks perfect for him.
exactly.
Yeah, you
It's a
might
good
have to
hand
give him
warmer
that
pocket.
sweater, Franco. You know that, right?
What'd you say?
You might have to give him that sweater.
Well, I do have another one that I made. I actually did it twice, and the first one I made had the hood was the one that was way too big, and I learned from that. So then I did the one that I'm publishing, and all I need to do is go back and take out the hood of the first one and redo it to the right size, and we'll have 2, and he might get one.
Yeah, that's good.
Except, you know what? Andrew wants one too, so then I won't have one.
Oh, no.
You know,
See what you started?
I know, I know.
I always say it's Franco. They're like M&Ms. You can't have just one.
Yes. There is something else I want to show you, and that is because I'm making a swatch. I'm swatching now for my next sweater. I don't know what it's going to be yet. I just know that I want to use cables. So I want to play with cables for a while. And I found some wool. It's what's it called? Universal Yarn Deluxe Worsted. And I started doing a swatch. And I thought, let me show you how I do a swatch. Let's see if I can move the camera over to show my hands. Here we go. So this swatch started out with enough stitches to make about 7 inches wide, right?
Mhm.
And I knit quite a few rows, maybe about 2 inches. And now I can measure the width and get my stitch gauge. But that 2 inches is not enough to get my row gauge. And so what I do is I bind off a whole bunch of stitches across until I get to about a 2-inch wide section, which I then continue. And that becomes the area where I can measure my row gauge. And
Oh,
what
isn't that
that
clever?
saves me is I don't have to knit all of these stitches in this big hole here.
Yeah,
So
it
it
saves a
makes
lot of
knitting
time
a
manually.
swatch for gauge a lot simpler and less work and less wasted effort.
Mhm.
You should do a video about that.
Yeah,
Less
I probably
wasted
should.
yarn.
I thought I
You
would do it
really
here
should.
first and see if
Well,
anybody had
it's
any
it's
idea.
great, but no, I think you should do a video because I mean I just got done doing a bunch of them and I did huge things and felt
Yeah.
guilty that I wasn't doing it big enough and I that would have saved me like more than half the time.
Yeah, it saves a lot of time. I did do a blog entry, but I'm no longer writing blog entries. And so, but if you go to the website and click on blog and then look at all the previous entries, you will find one that suggests a similar idea where I say knit and bind off a wide section for the row gauge and then knit a very tall section for the row gauge. But this sort of combined those two areas and did it all in
Yeah,
one
that's
swatch.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never heard anyone say that before. And when you say it, it seems so obvious that you don't need to knit a square to get the information. But no one has ever said that to me before.
I know, and I've never heard it either.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know how I come up with things that nobody else thinks of. I mean, people have been doing this for 1,000 years. So
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody has thought of that before because it is really obvious. I just want to know how many stitches there are in the row and how many rows there are in the height. So why do I need to have a big old square to do that?
Yeah.
Well, common sense is not common. I am living proof of that because sometimes I don't have enough. So
Well,
yeah,
it may be because I learned to knit so late in life and got serious about it. I was 67 years old, and most people have been doing the same thing for 50 years at this point, and they just keep doing the same thing they've always done, and that's the way it's done. Whereas I was new to everything, and I didn't know how to do anything, and so everything was figured out by myself for a long time. And I
right.
think that's why I keep coming up with new ways of doing things.
Which thank you.
Yeah.
I've been knitting the same way for 30 years.
Yes.
I get introduced to Franco, 3 years ago now? I learn every week that we get together and we talk. Different ways of doing things, different ways to improve my own knitting. because I'm like outside of my comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
I have boxes of sweaters, more socks than you could shake a stick at. Like I've been literally knitting socks since the 90s.
And you've never
There was
knitted one at on zero needles
Right.
before.
There was a period of time that I was knitting a pair of socks for a week. At least I probably knit 20 or 30 pairs of socks that year.
Wow.
Like pairs of socks. So now, all right, just getting together as a group is invaluable.
It is, isn't it?
And it's not my normal people that I am with at my yarn store, right? I've got Jenny from England. What a great resource, and I love the gnome. Oh my goodness. I snapped a picture of it and showed my husband. He wants one.
With the tuna can to hold it down.
Yeah, so cute. Yeah, Tuna the gnome, right? So
Jenny,
cute.
do you have the gnome handy? We have to show the gnome again if you have it handy.
It's so
Hold
cute.
on a minute. I'll just go and get him. He's
Okay.
upstairs.
Tuna the gnome, right? Yeah, the sweater that was knit from, I forget where she's from, but I think she was from Paris, and she took a year to make a colorwork sweater using Fair Isle. Like beautiful, but it's a Franco, right?
Oh,
Loved it. It was exquisite. So yeah, you can think in, because you get stuck in your old thing. And I still love doing it. I mean, I'd knit for 30 years doing the same thing. Knit all kinds of sweaters.
There's always something different. If you ever get bored, there's always something different you could be
Right.
doing with your knitting. And there's always something you haven't done yet. You might have to
Right.
look for it a little bit, but there's always something different.
I have at least a dozen top-down raglan sweaters that I've made. I haven't made a top-down raglan sweaters for 3 years, Franco.
Hmm.
There you go. Oh, do we have Tuna?
We do have Tuna.
Oh, yay.
Is he cute? Look at his mittens. Look at his mittens. He's brilliant.
I love
He's
the
just brilliant.
pigtails too.
Yes, the little pigtails, yes.
Yeah,
I had to do those
It's just
twice
adorable.
because they were too small, and his little you can see his little mittens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
just love him. So much fun.
Thank you, Jenny. That is just precious.
If you were in the UK, Sumner, I'd mail him to your husband, but it's a bit far to go from here.
Yeah, it's a lot. Well, we're going definitely to we're probably going to be coming to London next year to see a couple of shows in the West End.
There you go then.
I will make sure I give you plenty of warning, and I will
Okay.
take you out for a proper cup of tea.
Proper cup of tea, and bring a
Yeah.
big suitcase, and you can take Tuna back with you.
So cute.
So what's everybody else working on?
I'm working on my Franco, my first Franco. I haven't made too much progress. I've been really busy with work. But just yesterday, I was able to do the crochet provisional cast on and join the whole thing back in the round. And
Oh, good. Sounds like
It's
you've made a
fine.
lot of progress.
yeah, there's no problem at all. I was wondering when I go to unravel the crochet chain with my provisional stitches. So I followed your video, Frank, and so I crocheted like 3 chains, and then I did my provisional stitches, and then I crocheted like 7 chains.
Okay.
When I go to unravel, do I start at the end with the 7 chains or the 3?
The
Does that make
7.
sense? The 7.
You start where you end it.
Okay, great.
because you built it that way and it will unravel from that end back to the beginning. And
Okay.
you can do it stitch by stitch. As each stitch comes out, you then put it on the needle. Or
On the
sometimes,
needle.
actually, I put it on the needle and then pull the stitch out
Right.
often.
Okay.
And
Yeah, it'll be a while before I get to that because I've got the whole body of the sweater to knit, but I don't think I'll have any trouble with it. And I love that it's going to be totally seamless. There's not going to be any seam or not even picking up of stitches in the
that's
underarm.
right.
That's
Right.
great.
I put one purl stitch down, not a purl stitch. I did a slip stitch.
Mhm.
One slip stitch in the middle of the underarm on each side.
Yeah.
To give me a little bit of like folding structure there.
Yeah,
And it also tells me where, because I like to decrease it just a little bit
me too.
going down. And
Yeah.
it shows me where to decrease on either side of the slip.
Yeah.
So that was always helpful. Because you
Yeah.
change the beginning around to the underarm.
Yeah. Something else.
I think you're talking about two different things. Sumner's
Oh.
talking about creating a faux seam that goes down the side of the sweater.
Yeah.
Will was talking about the absence of a horizontal seam underneath the armpit
Right.
Yeah.
because
Same
of the
area.
original cast on.
I have done a faux seam before. I haven't started it on this one, so I probably won't do it on this one. But I do like to decrease just like an inch or two worth of stitches as I'm going down, because sometimes I find there's too much fabric around the waist line for me.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
have that problem. I have a bigger belly.
Oh, you're in great shape, Frank. You're in great shape.
But yeah, I kind of assume a lot of people do want to do some sort of body shaping, but I don't attempt to do any of it because there's so many different ways to do it.
Yeah.
And so it's not in the pattern, and it's up to you to figure out how you like to do that.
Yeah, and it's really flexible. Like my little niece, who has got a teeny waist and is big busted. It was really easy to modify the Franco to fit her.
Oh, that's great.
You know, you did short rows for the bust and decreased under the arms where the seam was. Loves the sweater. It is in Korea with her. It was on her please send this to me list for Christmas.
Oh,
She's the young lady that was teaching English in Korea.
teaching you what?
She was teaching English in Korea.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's who you
Loves her
visited?
Franco.
That's what
Yeah.
prompted your visit to Korea?
It did. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It was cool. And that yarn store, oh my goodness, that was so much fun.
So what is somebody else working on?
So I've got a bit further on my top. So I was trying to explain how it worked last week. So I've got a bit further so you can try and see. So I knit the two separate panels and then you join them, you sew them together. So it's like, and then I've started on the lace underneath, you can just see now. So that will carry on down the body now, the lace underneath.
Oh, yeah.
So, and
That
then
looks a little dressy. Yeah.
it does, yeah. And so then that will go, and then I'm going to do make a long I cord, and then so to do it up at the back, it'll be done with crisscross with an I cord up the back to
Oh,
do it
my
up.
goodness.
So
Wow.
moving on.
That's
I had a question for
awesome.
everybody about I cords, now that you mention it. Has anyone used a French knitter, that little knitting dolly, or do they just do I cords back and forth on DPNs?
No, I've tried the French dolly, but I've got actually a version of that, but with a handle on the side. So you set it all up, and then you just
Oh, and you just crank it up?
and with a weight on the end, and then it just goes really quickly. Yeah. So you
Oh,
can make about a meter of I-cord in about 5 minutes.
Oh,
and how many
I've seen
stitches
people use
around?
that for ends.
It's 4.
4 stitches around. Ah,
Yes. Yeah.
So classic I-cord, yeah, 4 stitches.
well, that sounds like a really handy gadget. I avoid I-cords like the plague.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the back and forth, back and forth. That's why I wanted, so with your hoodie, Frank, I was gonna put in an I-cord drawstring.
Uh-huh.
Like I was gonna put a string around the hood.
I see.
Just
Yeah,
why not?
I
Right.
didn't have a string. I used that garter stitch edging as an elastic edging, so it pulls it in. And I liked the look of that. So it doesn't have a string, and I know that a plain hoodie usually has 2 cords hanging down. Everybody likes to see the 2 cords hanging down. I thought about just attaching 2 cords here and having them hang down. But no, I didn't do that. But you could change the edging to be something that would trap a cord of some sort.
Yeah, and you could even do it in garter stitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, my Martin Story hoodie, I purchased shoelace drawstring because I was not knitting that much I-cord. Wasn't doing it.
Right. So we all
That's why-
need that gadget that Jenny just
That's-
described. Just wind
Yeah.
it.
Why I'm
knit it.
asking.
Yeah.
Wind it up.
Either-
I've seen people
either
do that.
or you could hold 2 or 3 yarns together and just plait them, couldn't you?
Do what? Hold to.
To
And-
hold 3 or 4 yarns together and plait them instead.
Oh, plait them,
of
yeah.
making it. Yeah. And so just have a really long plait instead of an I-cord. That'd be really quick to do.
Yeah.
Charles Gandy told me a way to make a cord that is also really fast. You cast on as many stitches as you want the length of the cord to be, and then you cast them off on the next row.
Oh, well,
And
there
it
you go.
makes
Huh,
a
that'd do it,
nice,
wouldn't it?
it makes a nice woven cord.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
not round like an I-cord, but it functions as that.
Yeah.
Yeah, those silly dollies are only like $8 on Amazon. So I might just pick
Yeah.
one up. But
Oh, really?
they're little French knitter things.
Yeah.
You just sit and you pick at it and it makes an I-cord through the middle. So I don't know. We'll see.
This machine wasn't much more than that. It wasn't very expensive.
Yeah. Oh, I'll have to
It's a-
look.
Yeah.
Probably Addie has one because they have everything.
We got to go to Bellingham this week for the week and hit some yarn shops up there. We went to Apple Yarns. They do their own dyeing and stuff. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's
And
fun.
then Spin Cycle Yarns opened a new store. They actually have a storefront. And so we got to go in there too. And it was just like, oh, this is exciting.
I didn't know that. My brother lives near Bellingham, so I'm up there twice a year.
There's several really nice yarn stores up by
There's,
there.
I know they live in Mount Vernon, and so I've
Okay.
been to the
Mount
store in
Vernon
Mount
is
Vernon.
Wild Fibers.
Right.
That's a really good one. Yes.
Yes, they carry
And then-
Brooklyn tweed.
Yes. And Stanwood, which is just a little tiny bit south of that, but not very far, has Stilly River Yarns, and they're nice. And then there is in Bellingham, actually, there's Northwest Yarns, Apple Yarns, and now Spin Cycle Yarns. And Spin Cycle and Northwest are within like 2 blocks of each other.
I've never used Spin Cycle, and I keep hearing about them all the time. Everybody is using Spin
Yeah,
Cycle.
I hear of them all the time, even out
But
here
I've
in
never-
Massachusetts.
Yeah, I've never used them.
Well, I now have 2 schemes.
Well, would you like to show them to us?
I sure can. It was really a fun store.
Oh, that is fun.
So is Bellingham in Washington State?
Yeah,
Bellingham is in Washington.
It's
They're
almost to
north.
Canada.
Close, but not quite, but pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's 2 of the Spin Cycle yarns that I got. All of their yarns are all every single one, even of the same name, like this is Nostalgia. Every skein is different. They have just a really wonderful mix of colors.
Oh,
And then this one, the Nocturne, that's this is the dyed in the wool. That's kind of like their most common one, that they have gobs of different colors of dyed in the wool. And then Nocturne is the same sport weight, so you can use them together, which I'm going to for a hat. But this is on a gray base. It's dyed on a gray base of yarn, of grayed yarns. And so those are a little more subdued colors, but
Oh.
really cool, fun stuff.
Beautiful.
It was like, yay. Because I didn't know that they were there. I knew that Northwest and Apple Yarns, and when we went to Apple Yarns, they're like, well, you know, Spin Cycle opened a new store just like 2 weeks ago. You need to go there. So we did. But yeah, that was a lot of fun.
It's always fun to see squishy yarn.
Oh, it is. And just all the different colors and everything. It's just very, very fun.
Mary, how are you doing?
I'm being very lazy about knitting.
Oh goodness, Mary.
Lazy can be nice, relaxing.
Yes. Yes.
Are you
I had
feeling
to-
okay?
Am I okay?
Yeah, are you feeling okay?
Oh yeah, I'm okay. I just had let my house get so cluttered and piles of things here, and here for income tax.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm just being lazy.
Well, good. How about you, Serena? What are you working on now?
Well, the sweater behind me, you guys have seen that.
Oh, yeah.
That's got the Franco shoulders, but it's got a lot of shaping, and I keep changing my mind on it.
Oh, really?
I don't mind this. A lot of knitters might groan, but that I've knit that twice.
I don't mind.
Yeah, the first time I knit it on sixes, US 6, and I made an error on the pattern, and I'm like, well, if I have to reknit it, why don't I try to get a more drape? So I did, and I knit it on 8s this time.
Oh.
And I did the hem, and I didn't like it, so I took it out. And I decided to do a split hem and do it longer.
Cool.
So that's what I'm on right now. I'll probably be done with it tonight. Yay.
Yay.
And then I'll keep it close by for when it gets cold enough in the house. In this Florida heat, I'll have to wear it in the house.
It's always nice to have a sweater to wear in the air conditioning.
Yeah. I can't imagine the heat. We had snow again last night.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I'm
We had
like,
sleet
snow?
tonight.
Really? I was going to plant the peas this weekend.
Yeah, it is sleeting out right now.
did you hear about that terrible tornado in Mississippi?
Yes.
It was a devastating tornado last night in Mississippi.
Oh,
Yeah,
Leveled
not
the
good.
town practically, and the last count there were at least 24 deaths,
oh
Yeah.
my.
but they think there will
Ouch.
be more.
Yeah, I saw it on the news. Really awful.
It's I was really disturbed by that this morning, seeing videos. I don't know why I mentioned such a happy topic, but
Yeah, no, it was pretty awful.
I was excited that I found Mary on Ravelry.
oh,
So
yeah.
we connected
Hey,
on
that's good, that's
Ravelry.
good. Yay.
So I get to see her in another place occasionally.
I have one more thing to share. One of the other really cool things about Bellingham is they've got a lot of used bookstores. And I mean, like huge bookstores that are 3 stories and everything's cataloged and it's just like humongous. So I got 4 knitting books. They were like $5 a piece. Charted
Oh, isn't that
Knitting
wonderful?
Designs by Barbara Walker.
Ooh.
Oh,
Fair Isle Sweaters Simplified, and I don't know how to say their name, by Anne and Eugene Bourgeois.
Mhm.
And then one was the 444 More Knitting Stitches, one of the Harmony Guides. And then this one was older, but it just looks really interesting. It's Knitting in America.
Oh,
And
Is
it's
that a
got
history?
kind of, it is the history, and it's different sections of the country. Like this middle part is Midwest. There's stuff about Native Americans, and like this section is about Meg Swanson and stuff that she did, and
oh,
it's just, it's got gobs and gobs of stuff in it. And I thought, oh, that's so cool. And so for a little bit of a nothing, you can get really cool books.
So have you done all your book reports or can you still do one?
I've done my book reports, but there's quite a few that you have to do for level 3 also.
Mm.
So I'll have plenty to keep me busy. So yeah.
Those are wonderful.
And it is. It was just really, really good. I was so excited to find them. So it's like, yay. And to get them for inexpensive too, because sometimes it's kind of like, okay, if I get a new one, it's like I can get 1, but now I can get 4.
I'm trying not to be jealous.
Well, check out the used bookstore near you.
I have, but I didn't. It's funny because as a fairly new knitter, I'd never subscribed to any magazines, and nor did I have any books.
Mm.
And so I felt left out. So I went to my used bookstore first, and of course used libraries, and I've managed to collect a few. And then I used Suzanne Bryan's list of books she gave us in boot camp to make decisions on purchases. And most of those got those used. So now I'm catching up a little bit.
Well, and TKGA has the list of, if you remember there, of kind of like all the different ones that they kind of suggest as being good sources for MHK and what's it called? PHK, right? Professional hand knitter.
Yeah, professional knitter certification.
Yeah. So it's really quite cool. So.
Well, actually, for the
I'm always happy
professional
when I
knitter
find
certification, we didn't do any writing
well, you
or
didn't.
research.
You didn't have to do the research, but sometimes you just want to know how to do something.
Oh yeah. So I'm trying not to do the master hand knitting because I feel like I can learn in a different way. I don't need to.
And that's totally fine.
And
that's
all
great.
the swatches would probably be the same, I think, or very, very similar.
I don't know, because I don't know what you did at all. I just know what.
Yeah, they're similar from listening to you talk about and others, but not exact, so.
Yeah. It's fun though. But I was excited to find new books.
thank you for sharing that.
And we have a conference, a TKGA conference coming up.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that. I was going to mention that. It's very important that you all register. I think you can get a special rate up until the last day of March.
yes.
And it's April. Let me see. I'm going to find out the dates here.
I probably have it in my calendar if I can.
I
was
in mind too.
I was thinking of doing it again because I enjoyed the last one so much.
Yeah, I have to get the right year now.
I think it's
April 21st starting. Yeah.
Yeah, 21st, 2nd, and 3rd. I think.
Yeah, yeah, that's when it is, and
Yeah.
it's so inexpensive. It's God,
Yeah, I have it in my
don't have
phone.
time to read everything and do everything.
Yeah,
There are, I think they said 30 different sessions, and they will all be available as videos for the next 6 months or more.
Yeah.
And so there's just a lot of information for not a lot of money, like, for what you get, it seems to me. So
As
I
compared to some of
recommend,
these other organizations like Stitches, when Kathy went to Stitches West, I did a little digging because I didn't know much about that organization. Oh my gosh, they charge a lot of money.
yeah. Well, the difference is,
Not as bad as Knit Stars, but
yeah, yeah.
Knit Stars, I've never heard of them.
Oh,
You
they
gotta
do an
look that
annual
up. That
conference
is
online.
fascinating. Frank, I think, said he did it once
I
before.
did, yes.
It's just hard. I'm so frugal. It's hard to make a decision to spend that kind of money.
Mm,
Yeah,
And plus, you really got to invest your time. Even with the TKGA conference, I think it's very important to set aside time on your calendar to go back and watch all the sessions that you wanted to watch. But you're
yes,
going to have to be disciplined, or you'll just like forget.
yes.
right. I did go back and go in some of the courses, because they did a getting ready for the masters that I paid for, and that's where I heard of Franco for the first time, I think, and or something. And then I heard of him there, and then I went to his website, and then whatever. So that was about 3 years ago.
Well,
It's
that's
now
how I
called
met
the-
Kathy.
It's now called the Next Level Conference, and it's to take your knitting to the next level.
Yeah.
Its origin was to help people who were working on the master hand knitting program,
Mhm.
and it was focused around that program. But more and more people just started coming and wanting to take classes who weren't in the program, and then they said, well, let's just expand it to make it more of a general conference and help everybody from wherever they're at to improve. So
Yeah,
it's
got a lot of
a
help
level
from it. So
conference.
I'm definitely thinking of doing it again.
I'm glad they made that decision. That's a good decision to encompass a wider audience.
That's right. Oh, I should mention the website is tkga.org, not .com. TKGA stands for the Knitting Guild Association. tkga.org is where you sign up for the Next Level Knitting Conference. So let's just make that clear.
Has anybody else made yarn purchases lately besides Cindy?
I've been good. I've been working through some stash and stuff that I bought over the holidays, mostly. You know.
Do you have all of your stash like cataloged, Will?
Oh no. No, it's
Bad question.
it's kind of organized. Every once in a while, maybe every year and a half, I go through and just sort of try to figure out what I've got, you know, and if there's any projects that I can think of to use the stash for, just because, you know, the more stash I use, the more yarn I can buy, right?
That's true.
And you don't have to feel guilty about it.
Right, right.
I know you guys won't like to hear this, but my little local knitting guild posted something on Facebook about alder for auction. They're an auctioneer and they auction yarn.
Really?
And I'll put that in chat. And I was like, you've got to be kidding. That is all I need to hear. But I know nothing about it because I didn't want to know. I was like, this is dangerous. Oh,
There was a fun acronym for stash, and it's something we'll never use in my useful lifetime or something. Like you have more yarn than a useful lifetime. Anyway, I'll figure it out one day. It was the funniest thing. I just couldn't stop laughing.
Sable, isn't it? Stash acquired beyond life expectancy.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
but it says
Stable.
that they sell yarn. And I don't know if it's stuff discontinued by companies from like Cascade, Lana Gatto. I don't Sirdar, S-I-R.
Sirdar.
I don't know
Yeah.
how to say all these different yarns. I was like, I do not need to know this, so I didn't go investigate it. But for some of you who really need, some fix.
If you need a fix, you can get it quick.
But I was like, you got to be kidding me. Somebody who auctions yarn.
Wow.
That's insane. Well, some of the yarn that I've knit with in my lifetime, God love me, I should have got at auction. I've knit mink. Amazing. Amazing.
What?
But you're talking, $100 for 50 grams, right?
Oh my
Some,
God.
and that was cheap, right? Because I got a discount because I worked at the yarn store.
Oh my gosh.
This stuff was like $150 for like 50
Okay, I
grams.
want to see what you knit now.
It was a
Where
hat.
is
It
your
was a mink
mink
hat.
sweater?
It was oh no. It was a little stocking hat with this bald head. And it shed to no end.
Oh no.
So, Cindy was talking about alpaca and why is it pill? Because it's very, very straight, long staple, right?
Mhm.
Well, what's mink, right?
It is.
Relatively short, very straight, right?
Yeah.
So, it pills, it gets threadbare in no time, and you just spend a fortune on it.
Oh my goodness.
That's
Yeah.
fascinating. I guess the one thing that I found very interesting this year was people knitting with wire.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Salem, Massachusetts is very close to me. I used to own a condo on the ocean there. And there was a lot of people that would knit with wire.
Beautiful.
It was, yeah, really.
I don't
with
remember
beads
who
on
it was, but it
with
might have
beads on
been
it and stuff. It was amazing.
that lady that interviewed you, Frank. I think she interviewed somebody who knit with wire or made stuff with wire.
Irina Shar.
Yes, Urena. Boy, you can learn a lot watching her interviews. It's just
Yeah. That was so nice that she asked me to do an interview.
Yeah, it was a great interview. So if I ever knit
it's
with
about that
cashmere
time,
again, I'll do a
everybody.
blend.
What'd you say, Sumner?
If I ever knit with cashmere again, I'll do a blend. Because that was a fortune for 100% pure cashmere. And the pilling, it's almost not worth it.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, so whatever. It was fun. I love it, but enough.
Well, I'm afraid we've come to the end of the hour. So it was really nice to see you all again. And
Well,
thank you for coming. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks. Bye, Frank.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Everybody,
Well,
have fun.